Hello, everybody. My name is Nisin Lopez. I am a Cuban American artist based in Miami, Florida, and I also happen to be a targeted individual, meaning a victim of organized stalking. Now, when people Google the terminology gang stalking, organized stalking, covert harassment, they don't really know what it is. So I decided to make a presentation in order to enlighten the public as far as this controversial subject. The the subject of organized stalking, a secret program of the U.S. government designed to destroy targeted individuals emotionally and psychologically. So, what exactly is organized stalking? Well, one could say that gang stalking is bullying on steroids. Organized stalking or covert harassment is pretty much a form of political repression, extrajudicial punishment, if you will. Gang-stalking, as I already mentioned, is a secret program of the United States government designed to destroy the targeted individual emotionally and psychologically. This is done through dark neurolinguistic programming. We're talking here about state-sponsored psychological terrorism in the name of social engineering. Really ugly stuff. We're talking about non-therapeutic, non-consensual human experimentation. Really ugly stuff. So, who are the people behind this phenomenon known as organized stalking? Well, the gang stalking enterprise is a Masonic type of fraternity. The unjust, systematic form of harassment is done by a group of people in an organized fashion, using unethical means to torment, preoccupy, agitate, intimidate, and terrorize the isolated victim 24/7, no matter where he goes. We're talking here about community oriented policing. The targeted individual is exposed to a stressor outside the range of usual human experience. He is constantly bombarded with negative environmental stimuli until he breaks down after years of methodical abuse, unjust, systematic, methodical abuse. We're talking about years here. Targeted individuals fall mainly into four categories. We have, for example, judicial targets. There are extrajudicial targets. We have targets of opportunity, and in some cases, lucrative targets. Most victims of this program, COINTELPRO, end up homeless, in jail, or in psychiatric institutions, institutionalized. Some targeted individuals even commit suicide. Once a person is labeled as mentally unfit, his credibility is automatically gone. Keep in mind that a person that is diagnosed as a delusional paranoid schizophrenic cannot acquire a gun in America. Basically, we know that by now that the United States government is trying to repeal the Second Amendment. Most of these mass shootings taking place in the U.S. are false flags operations, pretty much. They want to repeal the Second Amendment. We know this. So overall, gang stalking is an illegal, long-term, unconstitutional, very important, unconstitutional. This is not constitutional. It's an illegal, long-term, unconstitutional program designed to neutralize free thinkers, people like myself, that could be considered a threat to the New World Order one way or another. They basically target people who are like whistleblowers, people who are outspoken, people who have, like political beliefs or whatever, you know, people that are not necessarily a threat to anyone, but they just happen to be outspoken. These are the kind of people that they target usually. So the degenerate folks behind the gang-stalking syndicate, they define themselves as threat assessment team. I repeat, threat assessment team. They basically, say to people, oh, the target is a bad guy, he's a threat to society or whatever. That's how they get to recruit, people that will harass the target 24/7 everywhere he goes. It's a corrupt form of proactive policing, and it generates no forensic evidence. Very important. It's traceless. This gang stalking crime is traceless, pretty much. And who are the perps that harass the targeted individuals? Well, the perps, meaning the people that are recruited by federal law enforcement in order to harass the target, these people are called surveillance role players. They're also defined as surveillance team members. These people that are recruited by the FBI, Homeland Security, and the police, they believe that they are patriots, that they are heroes serving some type of noble cause. And they come from all types of social backgrounds. We're talking here about men, women, old, young, rich, poor, etc. These people are brainwashed into believing that the target is a really bad person, a terrorist, a racist, a communist, a murderer, a serial killer, a sex offender, a rapist, a child molester, all kinds of ugly stuff. Basically, this is slandering. They say all kinds of horrible things about the target, in order to make people hate the target. So that people hate the targeted individual, and that's how they get to recruit, perps, meaning surveillance role players. We're talking here about a gang of anti-freedom of speech terrorists, recruited by federal law enforcement. We're talking here pretty much about a clandestine civil military operation. And also, keep in mind that the targeted individual is also subjected to directed energy weapons. I know that for the most part, the American public is not ready for this type of information. The minute you say directed energy weapons or something like that, they say, "Oh no, that's science fiction. Oh, that's fantasy. This guy's crazy. He's delusional. He doesn't know what the hell he's saying." But the fact of the matter is that there is such thing as directed energy weapons. This type of technology, this type of secret technology, is based on DNA profiling. Basically, the frequency of the target's DNA is used to fine-tune the technology. I know that sounds crazy, but that's how it is. In our modern days, the feds, meaning federal law enforcement, they have access to a sophisticated wireless technology beyond electromagnetics and acoustic signals. This is known as transcranial stimulation. This technology is classified, of course. They don't want the public to know this. That's why, when somebody like myself is trying to inform the public and I talk about this secret technology, people say, "Oh no, he's crazy. He doesn't know what he's saying," all this stuff. This secret technology, for those of you who don't know, enables the people behind gang-stalking to insert thoughts, words, phrases, images, impulses, dream videos, etc. into the psyche of the targeted individual, especially if the highly traumatized victim is in an altered state, meaning under the influence of drugs or sleeping, for example. We're talking here about synthetic telepathy, pretty much, a system of neurocognitive warfare, trauma-based mind control, really horrible. All the experiences of the targeted individual are stored in a super quantum computer that predicts the targeted individual's behavior based on past choices. Basically, the computer literally resonates with the biofrequency of the targeted individual. What we have here is black magic. This is black magic at the governmental level, a perfected breakdown tactic on the human will. So this, ladies and gentlemen, is what's going on here in America. Organized stalking, a secret program of the U.S. government designed to destroy the lives of targeted individuals like myself. I, Nisin Lopez, I have been a targeted individual in Miami, Florida since early 2011 until the present. These people have destroyed my life, the feds behind this secret program. This happened to me, well, it's a long story. But this happened to me because I had a problem with some influential people here in Miami, Florida. I'm talking about people who have a lot of political influence, people who have a lot of money, that, when they don't like you, all they have to do is make a phone call and say, yeah, they call their friends in high places, in federal law enforcement. Yeah, go ahead and destroy this guy's lives. This guy had the nerve to say this to us, and he published a book, or he's trying to publish a book about this, and that. So go ahead and fuck him up, destroy his life. So basically, this is how gang stalking works. And like I said, this thing has been going on in my life since early 2011 until now. My life has been completely turned upside down. Once you are targeted individuals, you have this, a few choices, in front of you. Basically, you end up in a psychiatric institution, isolated, your credibility destroyed. You end up in jail, surrounded by a bunch of animals. Some targeted individuals take their own lives, and some people tough it out, meaning some people, resist, and usually they die of cancer, a brain tumor, or something. So that's pretty much what's gonna happen to me, I guess. Because once you are in the program, they don't let you go. I guess my end will be to die of cancer or something. After so many years of being harassed, so much stress being accumulated. So, well, I want to thank you all for your time. I hope you found this information useful. Thank you very much for your time. Bye bye.